Hey guys, welcome to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. Check out this Mario Kart clip here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, if you watched Wednesday, you know that had the big reveal. Okay, this gameplay is awesome. What's the title? Gunvein is the name of the one on the countdown screen. It is a lot of fun. Highly recommend. Good morning, Anon. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Silver Bishop. Good to see you guys. Let's get right in it. Switch 2, big reveal. This is on screen as one of the titles they revealed. Mario Kart World. Where you're able to get into you're able to do free roaming in addition to the regular Mario Kart. And of course, it's enhanced, more drivers. The graphics look really excellent. I'm really impressed at how crisp they look. So I'll probably end up getting the bundle with this in it, but it's a lot of fun. But I mean, it's been wild. Wednesday, and I did cover it. If you want to watch the live stream of the Nintendo Direct, I reacted to it on my channel. It's on a previous live stream. I was pretty excited. I mean, but like a lot of people, there's mixed reactions. One of the things they didn't announce was the price during this stream, and we can kind of see why they didn't, because that's something a lot of people are not happy about. And there's been several criticisms of the Switch 2 since it's come out. I mean, is this going to be a big deal for Nintendo? That's hard to say. It's one of the things that we'll have to play out. We'll see if that's going to be something that will harm the Switch 2. And they're sort of they have market dominance right now. The Switch 1 outsold any console in this era. I mean, compared to the PS5 or the Xbox, they're just annihilating it. I think the only competition to it is PC at this point. So, and I think there also is a argument to be made that the Steam Deck, or these like the what I think Asus makes, the ROG or whatever, these sort of like handheld PCs that are coming out, similar to the Steam Deck, kind of similar to the Switch, could they be real competition to the Nintendo Switch? And when the Nintendo Switch is like $500, if you want this combo, or like $450 or potentially more, we're going to get into that too. Could that be an alternative to the Nintendo Switch? Because as Silver Bishop says, I'm glad I'm a PC supremacist, so I have no idea with any of this nonsense that's going on in console world. You can get like a million indies and old games on sale for $20, $10. There's just so much in PC that you can play on the cheap. I look at Lego compared to other cheaper and better quality brick products. There's always be enough people to buy them. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's always going to be all right, but will they able to keep up, absolute control of the console market? Because I mean, when you have something that has the player base that the Switch has, like, everybody wants to release their product on it. And with this sort of like enhanced power, maybe maybe you can get even more on it right now. Because I mean, you saw, if you watch the Switch 2 Direct, just a ton of third parties. Basically every like third party game made in like the past like year or two, you're like, hey, Switch 2, heck yeah, let's throw it on there. If it gets that level of player base, or like maintains the level of player base it had with Switch 1, which is good, probably won't. It's very hard. I mean, I think Switch was like lightning in a bottle in a lot of ways. Not to mention, I think some of the issues, manufacturing issues that some of the other consoles had might have played a factor in it too. But if it's anywhere close to that, then everyone is going to want to put their game on Switch 2. It's just, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have just try and get as many players available to play it? as you can. I think it's one of the reasons you see such a push to put on PC, because they know they have a huge user base. And if with Xbox and PlayStation kind of faltering right now, it's it just makes a really good option, because you have Nintendo has, unlike PlayStation and Xbox, I think it has an insanely strong first party. I mean, everyone, all that Nintendo player base is always going to buy Nintendo for Pokemon, for Mario, for Smash Brothers. You name the first party game, it has that IP as its backup to always get people to buy in. So that's combine that real strength with, if it has enough power to play, to you can release newer games on it that aren't and it's hard to say how this will hold up in the years to come, but right now it's a pretty attractive platform to release stuff on. But that's always, of course, that assuming its sales kind of stay in line with the Nintendo Switch, or close to the Nintendo Switch. But let's kind of get into these articles that I have prepared to cover. So this is the Switch 2 reveal, the price. They didn't cover this on the Switch 2 Direct because there's a lot of stuff going on with the price, and this may not even be the price. Funny enough, that's how crazy the last few days have been. We don't even know what the price is going to be. They've already revealed this, and they taking it back. Switch 2, so $449. The bundle's $500. That's quite a bit more expensive than the Switch 1. Switch 1 I think was like $300, or you can even get it cheaper. Especially right now, you can get it cheaper. For the Switch Lite is which I'm not a huge fan of playing in a handheld mode, but you can get that for really $160? No way. Switch Lite, but yeah. You get around under $200, depending on what it is. I mean, that's a really solid price. What's the Switch OLED? Switch OLED right now is, according to Amazon. Let me type. I can't type worth a damn. I like how I type it into Amazon, and already they have some sort of advertisements for something else. Switch OLED, so around $300. Okay, $300. So it's a significant price bump, and maybe that goes down. Maybe this is just your OLED was $350. Okay, makes sense, and then maybe that drops a little bit later too. This might be kind of an anti scalper measures too. Price it high, and then if you need to drop it. Well, we'll see. But this is a significant leap in price, and for a console that's sort of aimed at children, or especially a very child-friendly console, that's a lot of money. I know a lot of parents will shell out a lot of money for their kid, but it's pricey. It's pricey to say the least, and I think that does. If you look at what the price of a Steam Deck is, I think Steam Deck is $400, depending on what you want to get. $450, some are even less, $300. Go what's the ROG Ally here? Republic of Gaming. What price are we looking at here? $500. Okay, so they're still kind of in line with these. Or I guess they're kind of even-ish with these handheld PCs, potentially a little more expensive. So they kind of bring. This might be, a kind of direct competition to the Switch. We'll have to see how that shakes out, but obviously PC has a ton of games. It has Steam, emulation, potentially, just so many more options. I mean, the Steam or Switch has a very good library, but it's nothing compared to PC. And especially when it comes to the value of their games that you can play, well, it's hard to beat that too. So that's one of the issues with making it more expensive that I could see potentially for the Switch, is that it makes handheld PCs a little more attractive in terms of the options. And one of the interesting things with the price is that the Switch 2 will have a Japanese language only model that is only $334. So $100 more than the Nintendo Switch. And people are kind of saying that, this is the Japanese yen's weak. So if they made, just an international version of the Nintendo Switch, that, Chinese scalpers would come in, take all the stock, Japanese players would not be able to get their hands on it, or they have to compete with the entire world to get a hold of these. So making a cheaper console that's just Japanese only, you can't. It's kind of useless outside of Japan. Is I think a good idea. It's kind of a little bit of nationalism. Like, hey guys, if you're in Japan, you can get a cheaper Switch. That's kind of cool, in my opinion. But I mean, a lot of people that are upset about the price may not like the idea that the Japanese are getting it cheaper. Me personally, I don't care. I think that's fine. If the yen's doing poorly, you want to give your Japanese player base a cheaper system. That's a cool idea, in my opinion. Of course, some people are worried that this might kind of mess up the. Are you going to have Japanese only games? Is there going to be some like regional issues that pop up out of this? I don't think so, but maybe. You never know. Hopefully not. Hey, good morning, Jack. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, this was one of the things came up that may not be accurate. I think it ended up being a lie. Switch 2 games will cost up to $80 for digital, $90 for physical. So, and this, of course, this is a Euro thing. Digital, physical, and then this is the tweet that came out, that there be a different price for digital and physical games. But there also, I think there was another tweet that the physical, this is a Nintendo Mario Kart World physical release, $80, not $90. Does that mean Mario Kart World will be cheaper? I don't know. No. Too many people saying they're $90. Mario Kart World was $80. So that's another issue with the Nintendo Switch that people are very upset about. Now, Nintendo first-party games can be up to $80. $80, a leap. I think they're usually like $60, if I'm remembering right. Like if I pay, what did I pay for Echoes of Wisdom? I think it was. I don't think it was $70. I think it was $60. Which, now that's $20 leap. Let's see, where can I buy this? Give me a price. Give me a price on this Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, $60 for Echoes of Wisdom. Now we're paying $80 for Mario Kart World, or if you buy the bundle, you technically get Mario Kart World for $50. I don't know if this was like a way to sell the bundle, or they're just trying to say like, hey, this is the new standard price for our first party games. It's going to be $80. And, maybe there'll be like cheaper games, like already Donkey Kong is been shown to be $70. So there's quite a bit of a different, who knows what their pricing strategy is right now. When you think first party would just be the same prices. I know like a long time ago, Shigeru Miyamoto was saying that they wanted the price of games to be relative to like what you're getting. So, maybe Mario Kart World's just considered a bigger game as a larger like online component. Maybe that's, an $80 game. Well, meanwhile, Donkey Kong maybe didn't have as much development cost, doesn't have an online component, so maybe that's a $70 game. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting if they did go with that pricing model, but right now, $80. And the other question is, like, if Nintendo says, hey, $80 for our first-party games, they're obviously a huge player. Obviously, people are going to buy it because they love first-party games. Does that embolden every other company at this point to say, yeah, $80, sure. That's our first party game. That's the new price for our first party games. Is now that Nintendo's done it, does that mean everybody's going to do it? And that would kind of suck. Obviously, inflation's a thing. It exists. Development costs are constantly going up, so maybe this was inevitable. But I mean, for the normal customer, that kind of sucks. Anytime things get more expensive, it makes the things a little bit harder. And like this is like 90 euros for a game, which I think it is true. I think it ended up being 90 euros. So sucks for people like Jack over in in Europe. And this was another thing that people were freaking out about. They do not like it because there's a lot of physical game enjoyers. So this is Nintendo Switch 2 keycard overview. Key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. After it's downloaded, you can play the game by inserting the key card into your system and starting up like why bother at that point? If it's not the full game, what's the point? And people are like, oh, are physical games just dead at this point? Now they're releasing, so you could buy a physical packaging and get a key card. Like, why not just download digital at that point? Like, what's the point at this of downloading a key card, a game key card? I don't get it personally. I don't get it. It seems such a weird way to do things. Saying, "You insert. Why go through all the rigmarole if it's not the full game? Like I gotta open it up, I gotta insert it, take it out when I want to play something else. What is this? It makes no sense. And maybe some games are just too big, is what their logic is. To fit on a Nintendo Switch. I don't know. To me, this seems insane. I know people like a lot of people like physical games, and they are not happy with it. To me, I just don't see the function of it. Like what's the point if you don't get the actual game? If like the majority of the data isn't on the actual card, and it's saving you disk space, like will this save you disk space? Is like half of it on there? But if it's just like to enable you to download and play a game, it seems ridiculous. I mean, is it just like kind of cool? You can like stick it in a little like display and have it there just for the hell of it. I don't know. To me, this seems like a ridiculous feature, but we'll see how it works out. And Nintendo fans, like I said, they're not happy. They're not happy. Nintendo fans spamming drop the price in first Mario Kart stream after Switch 2 Direct. So after the Switch 2 Direct, they had their Treehouse. And their Treehouse is like a little like thing where they kind of show off. They actually play some of the games and show it off in a more casual fashion rather than, a tight 1 hour presentation. And, well, as you can see here, like Kabrutus taking the screenshot here, drop or flop, drop the price, just constantly spamming, drop the price. One guy saying Silk the song, which I'm with. Where's my Silk song at? So just not happy about this pricing structure. Really pissed off. This is Nintendo showing off their one like demo game, which they're charging you money for. Someone saying Astrobot was better and free. Thank you for American Truck Song 9 for this screenshot. Just drop the price. A lot of complaining going on right now. They're not happy with the pricing structure. Now I can understand that. I can definitely understand why there wouldn't be anytime. And we could say like there's. Let's see. This is the game card overview. I already covered that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of somebody. Do I have? I thought I had a slide with the sort of comparisons to the older games, but I don't. Maybe I forgot that. But I mean, a lot of people. Oh, and this as well. So they announced all this stuff. All this stuff's going on. But one thing that happened is, well, Liberation Day happened. August 2nd was declared Liberation Day by Donald Trump. And what that means is we are reciprocating tariffs on a lot of countries right now. And one of them just happened to be the place where Nintendo is manufacturing. I believe it's Vietnam, or where they're manufacturing a lot of the Switch stuff. And they got hit with a giant, like 46% tariff because, well, they're charging us a lot as well on our stuff. So right now, I believe Vietnam's negotiating with us on the tariffs because, of course, you're going to do that. And Nintendo's kind of second to think like, oh, wait a second, that $500 price, if they're getting hit with 46% tariffs, maybe $500 isn't enough. Maybe we got to do something else. We got to adjust the price. We got to wait and see. So this is from GameStop. Pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the U.S. will not start April 9th, 2025 in order to assess potential impacts of tariffs and evolving market conditions. Nintendo will update timing a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. GameStop can work closely with Nintendo to provide updates as soon as information becomes available. So, will this mean a more expensive Switch? That's kind of what people are a little worried, that the Switch 2 might get more expensive, but I kind of don't see that happening. I think there's going to be negotiations between Vietnam and the USA, but you don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that needs to be shaken out, and I'm hoping it doesn't get more expensive. That would suck, but it could always happen if these sort of negotiations fall through. Of course, people just absolutely love anytime game journalists can talk about video games and attack Donald Trump. You know for a fact that they are going to do it, because it combines their two favorite things. First off, leftist journalism, which they are leftists first and foremost, and then games journalists. So basically they can say like they're doing their job and really doing their true passion, which is attacking America. So this is Rebecca Valentine, which is a giant shill. ESA responds to Trump tariffs. If we think it's just Switch 2, then we aren't taking it serious, guys. Your video games could be getting more expensive. Look out. On Wednesday, we learned that it would cost $450 in the United States, a painfully high price, analysts say, partly due to the expectations of tariffs and partly due to other factors like inflation, competition, and component costs. Then last night, the Trump administration announced wide-reaching 10% tariffs on essentially every country, with much higher tariffs on numerous nations such as China, the EU, Japan, Vietnam, and Canada, and Mexico, with many others. In response, China announced this morning, of course, you got to cover China, Rebecca's great friend. And that's a 34% reciprocal tariff on U.S. goods. And just hours ago, in the wake of this, Nintendo announced it would be postponing the Switch 2 pre-orders in the USA, while it evaluated the impact of tariffs on console plans. Oh no. The GameCube was the last Nintendo console to be manufactured in Japan. And they used to manufacture stuff. It kind of sucks that they moved a lot of that stuff out. I mean, they used to manufacture a lot of their reels in Japan, like Shimano and stuff. That's more my field of expertise. They used to do it, and they were really good. And even the Japanese-made stuff is considered pretty valuable over here. But yeah, it's a shame. So I guess they might be paying for it. I don't know if tariffs or other countries will help Japan bring their manufacturing back into Japan, but we'll see. So let's see what this ESA... The ESA, like everyone else, is trying to figure out what's going to play out. Broadly, she says, they have some expectations. They knew tariffs of some sort were coming, both due to Trump's past actions and the first administration and his repeated discussion of them on the campaign trail. And once implemented, they expected there would be a risk of retaliation from other countries like China, as well as even more tariffs and levies from the U.S., but the jury is still out. So, I mean, nobody knows exactly what's going on. I'm hoping it's, like I said, it's not going to mean more expensive Switch stuff, but it's always going to be a risk. We really are at this point just watching and trying not to have a knee-jerk reaction because we don't think that's what President Trump announced this week is the end of the story, which is 100% true. But what announced this week and tariffs as outlined, we do expect tariffs will have a real and detrimental impact on the industry. Oh, no. And the hundred of millions of Americans who love to play games. And so our goal is to work with the administration, work with other elected officials to find a solution that doesn't damage U.S. industries, U.S. businesses. I love it. U.S. industry, U.S. businesses. All of these people are moving all of the jobs, everything out of the United States. Everything's made in China in some factory by people that are making absolutely nothing to make these goods. So, yeah, it's really damaging U.S. industries when we take all our manufacturing jobs away from America and have some third world impoverished person make it. It really hurts. Like I feel so bad for U.S. industries and U.S. businesses. It's always these leftists that are super like anti-capitalism, billionaires. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, how can we harm these poor U.S. industries and businesses, but also American gamers and families? And yeah, it sucks that Americans might have to pay more for their stuff, and it's probably going to be a temporarily painful. I'll say that, but if it helps bring back U.S. Jobs, then I think overall it's going to be positive. I also think a lot of these countries are going to crumble and negotiate. It's usually kind of like Trump's modus operandi to say something ridiculous, like we're going to do this ridiculous thing against this country, like oh my god, I can't believe they're doing it. Then all of a sudden the other country's like, no, wait, let's talk about it. Let's negotiate here. And then they end up, acquiescing, or you get something that's got it in the middle. Like they don't have a huge problem, right? That's what it was. So these jobs are BS. Yeah, a lot of them are. So yeah, it might. Who knows if it's gonna be bad for the industry? I guess paying more does suck, but honestly, I don't much care. To be real, they're gonna find a way to keep moving on. If 10% here, 20% here, maybe they make less profit. Maybe they just charge more for the game. That's going to be their job to determine what happens with it. And of course, at this point, we don't know if this is just the first sort of phase in negotiations. But hopefully, it means Marion Manufacturing comes back. But we'll see. That could be a long time coming. And of course, I don't think a lot of businesses are going to particularly, if it's if they look at this as just a 4-year thing. Are they really going to be investing? And that's going to be hard to say. This was an interesting point. So this is by a guy named GK. So while I get the frustration and not being able to afford things, I don't like the idea that you aren't able to enjoy gaming if you aren't on top of the newest, latest thing. You aren't missing out on gaming. You just have a narrow consumerist relationship with the hobby. And this is like Local Bison Master responding. You can realistically spend your entire life exploring gaming pre-2010. Games are art and not some mechanical car parts. The idea you need to keep up is silly. And I think this is a really great point. When I looked back at what I bought in last year in 2024, I believe there was only 2 like full price games I bought. One was Space Marine 2, which I had a lot of fun with. I really enjoyed. The other was Echoes of Wisdom, which was $60. So it's a $70 and a $60 game. And you have Pal World, which was $30. I bought in the beginning. Really the first part of the year. Helldivers, which was an amazing game. That was $40. So not tying, these sort of like full price, triple A games for 60 and 70. Only two of them. So I bought I did buy a bunch of games, but the ones that I bought that were full price, $80, I didn't buy. I think there was also, did I play Pikmin 4 last year? Did Pikmin 4 come out last year? I ended up getting that for $50 because I bought the $100 pack. So I mean, there's a lot of ways to pay less and still game nowadays. And so many of the games I purchased on Steam were like $10, $20. You get them on a Steam sale. And I just played Chrono Trigger and beat that. That was, I think, less than $10 because it was on sale. And that was a Steam release. It's a really old game, but still an amazing game. And I enjoyed the heck out of that. So, I mean, Gunvein, the game I showed in the previous, I'm trying to get a sort of like 1cc on Intense, and that's $20. So it's ridiculous to say like you need to buy these $80 games. You don't have to. I mean, you can get a lot cheaper options. I'm sure a lot of the Switch 1 games that are compatible on Switch 2 are going to be very cheap. You get them in the eShop. If you have a PC, or you end up getting, the sort of like one of those cheap handheld PCs, you got a ton of indie games that you can play that are a lot of fun. A lot of like old school style games that are incredibly cheap. So, I mean, you can play so many games nowadays that aren't, full price. It's just like when you get caught in like this, like, I got to have the latest game. I got to be part of like the crowd. Everybody, and especially social media, is really bad about this. That, kind of like sucking you in. Like, you want to be part of the conversation. Like, everybody on social media, especially if you're in this sort of gaming circle, is going to be talking about the new game, the new hotness. And it's, only natural to like want to be involved in that. It's a strong pull. But if you can kind of like getting into like the circles that are more interested in sort of like deep cuts, they're interested in like playing like Devil May Cry. That right now the franchise, you can buy the entire franchise of Devil May Cry for $20. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, that's a ridiculous price for, 5 games. It's less than like $4 each. Or I guess it is $4 each. So there's just so much gaming to be done if you kind of free yourself from that, product cycle. And like I said, you nailed it, a narrow consumerist relationship with the hobby. If you're just buying like the new game, then it's really it can get really expensive. You got to like kind of free yourself from that cycle, and you can enjoy it. I think better games and cheaper games for sure. You like the new Devil May Cry? Have you watched the whole thing? I've seen like some really contradictory stuff on it, where like like we're invading hell, like it's the Middle East, and like there's good refugee demons and stuff. But I'm like, oh god, that looks painful. But there are some clips too that seem pretty cool. Let me take a drink. The first 3 episodes so far. Oh, you have to tell me how you like it when you finish the whole thing. Whether it starts strong and then fades, or it stays good throughout the whole thing. So the Switch is getting hit again. Nintendo Switch battery will only last between 2 and 6.5 hours, half of the original. Oh, but there's a note. This statement is incorrect. The original Switch had a battery of 2.5 to 6.5. The original Switch battery will last for the same amount of the Switch 2, not half. Ooh. Slight correction. I mean, neither of those are super good. So the Switch 2, obviously it's a newer game. It has a lot better hardware, a lot more powerful in terms of the hardware. So that could definitely affect the battery life. And this was this is sort of the original Switch, and I guess it has both of these kind of set. The Switch OLED was 4.5 to 9 hours. Obviously, the battery technology is getting better as the Switch life cycle goes. The Switch Lite was 3 to 7 hours. Switch 2 going to be 2 to 6.5. I never play on handheld, so this isn't a big deal. So I don't care that much, but I mean, it is going to it can be a little bit worse for people that, want to play these games. And I'm pretty sure if you're going to be playing, like Mario Kart World, it's going to be like 2 hours. The games are really going to stretch this out. Battery life's not going to be great. And they could, I think, have, maybe they do have performance mode and like 4K mode, or maybe they do have some sort of like power saving options. If you play on the go, this is a factor. And I know a lot of people do like to play in handheld, so it could be. Is the Switch 2 screen a little bit bigger than it? I believe it is. I believe it is a little bit bigger than the Switch OLED. At least it looks like in this picture, but I believe they've said that it's going to be a little bit bigger. It's not, an enormously bigger, but it is bigger. And that's, I think, another thing. So, I mean, it has less battery life, but you're actually getting something for it. You're getting better performance. You're getting a better screen. So, it's no longer a pocket device for male pockets. No, it is not. You're going to have to get maybe a fanny pack, a little man purse to maybe get a Gucci man purse for your Switch 2 or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely not going to fit in a normal pocket unless it's, you got some Jinko jeans in the closet that you can get your chain, get your Jinko jeans, and just Switch 2 could fit in that. Rocket, like it's the early 2000s. So yeah, it's not looking good for Nintendo. Go ahead and drop the reason for the low battery life. So they're going to attack for that. They're getting hit for a lot of different angles. The price, the battery life, the price of the games. But I still think overall I'm very excited for the Switch 2. A lot of this stuff like battery life doesn't affect me. The price kind of sucks, but I got money. And so, if it's a game I want to play, I'm going to play it. Is essentially it. I'm pretty selective about my games. So, if I got to pay, I'm going to be paying $50 for Mario Kart World because I'm getting the bundle. I'm going to buy Prime 2, which is probably going to be $70, maybe $60, depending on what it is. I'm going to be playing, or Prime 4. So yeah, that's going to cost me $60. And then yeah, I'm going to buy my Donkey Kong Bonanza. That looks really cool. This is another thing that I did, like when I saw this direct, I thought it was ridiculous too. So you got the Switch 2 welcome tour that you have to pay for, by the way. So it's like a demo game that you have to pay for. And this was kind of interesting. This is from Gene Park. Reggie had to convince Miyamoto and Nintendo to include Wii Sports as a free pack in the game for the Wii. According to this book, Reggie said Nintendo simply doesn't believe that they should give away their hard work for free, but they relented for the Wii because it was such a new concept. And I kind of respect Nintendo for their stance on that. Like, hey, if we're paying people, they clearly value their games and the work they put into it. Where they don't put it on sale immediately, and I kind of agree with them on that. I think if this is this definitely seems like a demo. Like, I don't know how much they plan on charging, but if you want to get people excited about the Wii or the Switch 2, then why not just release this for free? I mean, you're already buying an expensive system. Like, why not give them a little thing like, here's how cool it is, guys? It's like advertisement. But I mean, maybe because they're Japanese, they don't have the same sort of like culture related to that stuff. To me, this looks crazy. I mean, this is clearly a tech demo that they made into a game. The idea of charging for it just seems crazy to me. It really does. But apparently Nintendo doesn't see the way. But I could at least kind of respect that logic. At least I'm not going to buy it if you charge me for it. So there's always that sort of give and take. Like, yeah, you can. I respect the fact that you don't want to give your hard work for free, but I'm also not going to buy it if it doesn't seem like a decent value. If it doesn't seem fun enough to me to if it's like $10, even if it's $10, like I probably wouldn't buy it. If it's not, unless like I see some stuff that's like super fun, I'm like, oh, all right, $10, I'll get that. But to me, this doesn't look like it. There is a cool thing though. This was a okay. This is cool. People are like, this is an ad that you pay for. Why does it exist? Then all of a sudden he's like, whoa, wait a second. Then he's like pausing for a second because
still a lot of experience.
And look at this. Actually is cool. So this is the original resolution for a Super Nintendo here.
Yeah, you can play without a 4K display. Okay, so here we are.
So tiny.
I honestly have trouble.
Oh, look.
So yeah, so the
I don't know how you understand how you see this. Is this a
the original NES
Mario Brothers for ants?
256 pixels wide on the display. So what would that look like if you mapped the original art that was
Oh,
for Super Mario
I admit this is kind of cool.
4K display without scaling it? And 4K resolution.
It's neat. But again, I don't know if that's
You can see as
enough
progressing
for me to
through the
cough up
stage,
money.
It's the play field is widening there, and you can fit, the entirety of Super Mario Brothers World 1-1 on one screen.
I'm like
Yeah.
squinting right now. To
It is
He's-
both an impressive feat to see this entire
Oh.
mapped out on the screen, but also impressive to see Dudge able to complete it.
Yeah, playing this seems quite difficult.
I'm trying not.
But I mean, it's
to
1-1, so it's
Or
not
encourage
too
you.
bad.
It is
I mean, look
remarkably
how
small.
many.
This
That's
is to
crazy.
show how
So even. Oh, you can enter a pipe. I assume it. Does it like go down like that? Oh, I wish he would have done that. That looks really cool. I mean, this is cool looking. I gotta be honest. It's cool looking. I like it.
pixels
But I still don't know if I'm gonna pay the game for it. But I do like this guy's reaction. It's kind of similar. Like, you gotta pay for this? It's a stupid ad. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of cool.
well, don't jinx.
And they know how to get me, man. I'm a sucker for this stuff. Nintendo's got my number, that's for sure. I've always been more than willing to give them money. So we'll see. I think it's ridiculous to charge for this, but if it's got more stuff like this, I don't know. Am I willing? Am I weak? Am I that weak? We'll see. So this is a kind of Nintendo God here. I don't know how report. Let's see. Third-party developers are extremely happy with Switch 2. I don't know how accurate this report is, but well, I will say it's hard to argue that the third-party developers aren't happy with it, because you just saw if you watch the Switch Direct, just everybody is releasing their old game on the Switch 2. It's like, whoa, do you have an old game that was released for the Xbox, the Xbox One and the PS5? Well, we're putting on Switch 2. Hell yeah. So, report, third-party developers are extremely happy with Switch 2's horsepower. Nintendo and third-party are making it pretty obvious. Switch 2 clears Xbox Series S and is a close rival to the PS5. Yeah, I mean, sure. Right now it is. But obviously the Switch 2 is like the new generation. I don't know what, Xbox plans on releasing, or the PS5. I guess, is the PS5 Pro just it? Or not? And we have, Final Fantasy. That it is a kind of an interesting thing to consider. Like, I feel like every release we're getting diminishing returns as we go. Just, it's getting further and further diminishing with each, in terms of just technological power and what you get with that power. Just like, oh wow, I get some, ray tracing. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I'm not a huge graphics guy. I'm far more performance. I'm far more gameplay, and there is like some cool gameplay, like just how many things you can handle on the screen that help with the power, or like destructible environments, and maybe some physics stuff that's kind of neat. But each generation, it seems like that's getting less and less. The improvements are diminish. It's the 16-bit era to the 32-bit era was just a giant leap, and now it's like, all right, your roads are shinier. Wow, cool. there's more polygons on the screen, but you can barely tell, and it doesn't make that much difference. Like, I don't need to have every little hair on like Cloud's head be super detailed. I don't need to see the individual hairs on Ryu's face, or like, ooh, I got like a little like texture, the sweat beads on Ryu's massive chest here. I need each pore kind of glistening. I don't I don't need that per se. In fact, I'd almost kind of prefer some stuff be left to my own imagination when I'm looking at a video game. But I mean, this is DK here. It looks really good. I'm really excited about this game too. It's probably the game I was most excited about in the entire presentation. But will the Switch 2 be able to keep up with modern AAA games, and for how long? Because it could. I think for the next like year or two, definitely. But I don't know what happens beyond those 4 years. If once the PS5 or the PS6 comes out, and who knows what Xbox is doing, if they're going to release a console or what they're going to do at this point. I almost think they should try and get into the handheld PC market. I think that might be a smart idea, but we'll see if they do that. But because if the Switch is going to be, like $500 or like $450, and Xbox can kind of match that price and have something that's, really PC compatible, to me that seems like kind of a pretty strong idea. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I think for the meantime, like the next few years, it's going to be, you're not going to see that differentiation between, like, maybe stuff like Monster Hunter Wilds can't go on the Switch 2. Maybe it can, but you will see AAA games that were, just PS5, Xbox Series S exclusive be on the Switch 2 for the future, which is a plus for Switch too. That'll mean like they can get. You don't necessarily have to have a PS5 or an Xbox Series S to play this stuff. And like I said, if the Switch 2, assuming the Switch 2 sells well, which remains to be seen. I don't think it's guaranteed in the least that it just becomes a smash hit. Like, I don't expect it to become a smash hit like Switch 1. I think that's going to be a very tall order. But if it sells well, it's the consoles, the PS5s and the Xbox Series S's are in trouble because I don't think they're first party stuff, and honestly they don't even want to release their first party stuff exclusively on their own system. It definitely feels like Microsoft is looking to elbow in on the portable PC market. Their partners are already in the mobile PC space, so that's true. And like, they've had those advertisements like everything's an Xbox. Your tablet's an Xbox, your computer's an Xbox, your phone's an Xbox. So yeah, that maybe they don't go like exclusive like first party hardware, but they are. I think they do want to push. I could definitely see them pushing into this industry because I think there's an opening there too. If the Switch 1 or Switch 2 isn't as huge as the Switch 1 was. I like how I have to like try and differentiate between Switch and Switch 2. It's annoying. Let's move on. Mario Kart World is getting its own direct. That's going to be April 17th, pretty soon. Which I guess more details about it are coming up. World's interesting. It has the free roaming, and I'm kind of interested to see like what they want to do with this free roaming stuff. Like, what is going to be so special with the free roam? Playing with other people in the free roam mode, that's cool. It's cool, but there's got to be something to do beyond it that I'd want to see. I don't just want to just go exploring and take pictures like they showed on the direct. That looked kind of dumb, or at least not something I'm interested in doing. We'll see what they got in store. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I think Mario Kart Mario Kart's never been my game. I don't like it a ton, but it's fun. It's fun enough, if I can get it cheap with the bundle, for $50 with the bundle, I'm definitely going to enjoy it because I think, my family's going to get it as well. So we'll enjoy doing some races, having some fun. I will probably lose because again, one of the reasons I don't like Mario Kart is I'm very bad at it. It's not like I said, it's not my type of game. It'll be enjoyable to see what comes out of it. This game, I'm super excited for. This was the game I think I was most excited for. Air Ride was exciting, but this just looks fantastic. So let's check out this trailer again. There's such a weird designs with these like eyeballs and the rocks. I have a theory that maybe these were like people that were turned into rocks by some sort of magic. Maybe Donkey Kong bananas were turned into rocks by some sort of like rock magic. A giraffe rock here. Just these rocks sort of walking around. Because there was an image. I don't know if I can. Let me find it here. These monkeys slaving away in the mines. They yearn for the mines, guys. What's happening? Boom! DK busting through. It's sort of like the movement seems so free. A lot of people were comparing it to Galaxy, or not Galaxy, but Odyssey, and I definitely see it. I just love look how destructible this looks. It seems like a ton of fun to sort of explore and just smash stuff. And it's just this sort of like the power fantasy of I just kill that dude. Of being a giant monkey and just going around just breaking stuff. It seems like an absolute blast. Shooting up a barrel. Oh, yeah, you have like a little 2D type style gameplay. I don't know if that's like a bonus stage. Like a temple. I love how again the expressiveness of Donkey Kong is so cool. They did like an amazing job. I just like a really cartoon. I'm like a cartoon character, brought into a video game. I like it a lot. And the coloring on this thing is really wild. It's like almost like cyberpunk with all the really like bright like fuchsia, and like you have like purple and blue. Oh, again, the facial expressions are wild. It's like a Pixar character. Kind of it reminds me a lot of like Wreck-It Ralph. In a way, of course, Donkey Kong. Wreck-It Ralph's probably based off Donkey Kong, if anything. Coming out, and not too much further. July 17th. That's pretty soon. It looks great. I love the expressions. The gameplay looks like a blast. I don't know if it's going to be anything like that super technical or demanding. It's just going to be like a fun romp through the world, which is, I think, what Nintendo does best. They don't make these super challenging, super, deep systems in your video games. Just like, hey, here, play this, have fun. Made this really cool looking world with like very expressive, very alive. Just, play, have fun. Loved Odyssey. And if, this is anything similar, it's going to be a blast. There was like, let me see if I can find it. There was an interesting North Korea leaked a different box art here that featured an interesting character that we haven't seen before. Let's see. And this is it. Let's see. Let me bring this up here so you can see it. Donkey Kong Bonanza here. So as you can see, Donkey, before it was him with a rock, and now it has him with what looks to be a small version of Pauline, which also has a bracelet kind of similar to the rock. It has like a bracelet that's really similar to what that rock was. So I don't know if that means that there could have people have been like transformed into rocks, because I think this rock, a little like rock thing that's with Pauline, is an important part of the game. As you can kind of see, this is more of a close up. You see the bracelet that's on the little girl's arm is very similar in color to the rock that kind of showed up in this report here. Like you can see, like it was showing off like on the I don't know if it's like a sidekick or something that he has to like help as part of the as its quest, but very similar in color to this. So if that's a hint as to what the story's about, who knows? But kind of fun to see what the relationship is between Donkey Kong and this character, which obviously they do have history, ancient video game history, as the original Donkey Kong kidnapped, which is Cranky Kong kidnapped Pauline in the original Mario Brothers game. And of course, Cranky Kong's already been confirmed to be in Donkey Kong. One of the controversies surrounding Donkey Kong, if you can call it that, I don't think it's much of a controversy, is, well, the design of Donkey Kong. Obviously, he looks different than his rare days. And this is Kevin Bayliss here. I don't understand why there's any debate to be had. It's still DK, only better looking. People need to embrace change more. All good things get better with age. I would say that since I've been doing this for almost 40 years now, everyone give a big warm welcome to DK. This was the original character artist for the rare Donkey Kong, which has been sort of like the design for Donkey Kong for a long, long time. So he's the character artist and designer of Donkey Kong in 1994, Diddy Kong, Killer Instinct, done a lot of stuff for Nintendo. But he definitely thinks that the design's better. And you know what? This is growing on me. Originally, I was kind of like, because it's different. You're not used to it because you've been seeing the same Donkey Kong for a long time. But I do really like how expressive they made it. I think this Donkey Kong design definitely has some charm to it. It's different. Let me see if I can find it. But the expressions that he shows while he's playing are definitely good. And I think they kind of have to like change the eyebrow structure to make it a little bit easier for him to show a lot more expressions. If it was just, the sort of downward brow or like the unibrow, it might have made it a little bit harder. So I think overall it's going to be a positive change, but we'll see how it turns out. Last one. There's a few more things I was going to cover. This is Metroid 4 Prime, showing off the mouse controls.
So you can see Demetrius is locking on to the enemies with the ZL button, but then at the same time he's using that right Joy-Con to kind of fine-tune his aiming. Like maybe the enemies are maybe you have to lead them a little bit, so you have to aim a little bit to one side or the other. And I'm missing all over the place. A little bit of nerves. Oh, come on.
Nerves maybe just suck, Demetrius.
Cool, though,
have you thought about that? This is kind of cool.
Very seamlessly.
Kind of cool. I don't know if the mouse control is going to be a gimmick. I also, like I mentioned before, I don't know how comfortable this mouse is going to be. If you're playing for hours, like it seems very narrow. Very narrow compared to like a full-size mouse, was way hoping that some third-party controller maker is going to come in and give you a full-size mouse that can just plug into one of the USBs and you can use it like that. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, Nuke, good to see you. I don't know if I said hi already. JBB, good to see you in the chat. And of course, Susanna Alla Richard, good to see you as well. Good to see everybody in the chat. That's definitely lots of chatting. That's awesome. But the mouse, and this kind of makes me. I hope they don't. With the mouse being like their like new thing, I hope it doesn't mean that there'll be less support for motion controls. Because overall, I think for a console, motion controls are better than mouse for that kind of thing. For a game like, even a game like this, which is very much made to be like dual stick, or just normal prime lock-on play. Having motion controls, just be able to like tilt your controller, sit back, that's fun to me. Especially if you're playing on a couch. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get like a desk out. You're gonna get like a TV tray to play with the mouse. It's gonna be awkward. You can even kind of see like where's the they show his hand position. You have to have a flat surface to play this. So if you're just sort of playing Switch at your desk, like what are you gonna do? So this, and as a fan of Splatoon, which I don't, it's kind of a, I don't know if a lot of people are, but this is playing and aiming with mouse could definitely be better than motion control. If you're like in really like high level gameplay, it might be better, but that's still hard to say because Splatoon's kind of made with not being super accurate in mind, like some of the like randomness of the sprays and nothing's hit scan. There's some of it's sort of baked in, some of the inaccuracies kind of baked in. It's more about positioning and then super twitch aiming and shooting. Like nothing's like an instant kill. You have to still have to chart, like any like your one shot things have to be charged up. So it's even the game's designed around not being super accurate, but mouse controls could be a very cool concept if RTSs aren't a thing. But like, what if you wanted to port like League of Legends to Switch to or something like that? Some sort of like a really mouse heavy game. I could definitely see that. Or I guess you could put tablet games just on the Switch, using the touchscreen anyway. But it does open up the avenue for more FPSs or PC controlled games. And for a game like this, I could definitely see it being cool. Something like Prime. But I honestly, I would, with a game like this, I would still use motion control over a mouse control.
But it's really cool though that you're able to.
Assuming they have the support and the support's good.
Doing dual Joy-Con too, and then mouse
you see how quickly I can turn to side to side. Now, if I
so this was one of the last things. Hideo Miyazaki. This was one of the new things that reveals this Duskblood. Looks really cool. Very, Elden, what's his face? Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, all this stuff. All these games, which, I'm almost kind of getting sick of the aesthetic, of this type of aesthetic. I almost kind of wish they'd make something different at this point. Try something that's less, like gothic, dark, sort of gothic horror, or dark gothic fantasy kind of stuff. But this was one of the things they showed off. Looks really good. Looks very cool. This looks ridiculous. The guy's just like rocketeering over the environment. Some weird woman. What the hell is this? Well, it's my biblically accurate angels. Looks pretty cool if you're like a Dark Souls fan, Bloodborne, Demon Souls. I've never been super into the franchise, so it's never really excited me. But this doesn't excite me at all, this new detail. So, Hideki Miyazaki from FromSoft did a blog post on Duskbloods. it does not seem like any form of single player or offline mode will be available. The gameplay loop seems reliant on online play. And, maybe this is a mistranslation. Maybe he misspoke. But holy smokes, this sounds awful. I don't want to play in. I might be interested in playing, with some sort of Souls-like game at some point. I'm not against it. I played Dark Souls 2, and it was a lot of fun. It's not, my usual setting that I enjoy, but if it's always online, that sounds crazy. Though Night Rain sounds fun if it's, cooperative. I might end up playing Night Rain if, my brothers get it. I mean, want to hop in and playing these, but this is a bad sign, in my opinion. To me, very bad. But we'll see what they have. It's like fun co-op play. I might be tempted to get it, especially if people I want to play with end up grabbing it as well. But my first impression, very bad. Not good at all. Not good at all. We'll see what happens with the Duskbloods in the future. I played those games on every system they're on. I do play PvP and whatnot, but I'm not doing that on a portable device. Yeah. The online on the portable device isn't that good. Two, though I did see one thing I will give props for the Switch 2. The dock has a built-in Ethernet port. God bless them. God bless them. I didn't prepare that tweet, but I responded to it, and holy smokes. God bless you, Nintendo. I know half of the people aren't going to use it, but this is just the greatest thing in the world to me. Anyone that's ever played any online game like Splatoon, the LAN port right here, it's such a great thing to have. Even if you want to do events, like Splatoon related or Smash related events where you need to LAN up, having this just built into the dock is fantastic. It's so good. Thank you, Nintendo, for putting this in natively with your hardware. It should have been in to begin with on the Switch 1, but they've done right. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be in the dock. That dock's going to be $100 to replace, but maybe more. But whew, I'm so glad. I'm so glad they put this in. That way, for some reason, it's such a hurdle for people to buy this separately online. To have it natively support it is so good. Because, you got Mario Kart. You got, so much of gaming's done online, sadly, nowadays. And like I said, if you do competitive events, like I've been to Gatorland up in Gainesville, they have stuff like that. Having to get that extra bit of hardware is such a pain in the ass. This just makes it so much easier. God bless them. God bless them for doing this. It's such a smart idea. It should have been done on the Switch 1, but they finally caught up, and good on them. I'll praise Nintendo for that. It's a fantastic feature to have. Still thinking about GoldenEye. I hope GoldenEye is good. I really hope it is good. Yeah, that'll be a fun game. I loved GoldenEye on N64. I hope they'll re-release. They did announce it. I didn't cover that, but I covered it in the Switch 2 Direct. They announced that, though it is Rareware, Rare kind of owns that, so I don't know if there's an issue with re-releasing. Did they re-release Perfect? No, they didn't release Perfect Dark on that. But GoldenEye 64 being on the N64, but having the support for mouse controls or motion controls, that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun if they did that for the emulation release of it. I loved GoldenEye, playing it with my with college or roommates, cussing up a storm. The couch co-op, I forget where I saw it, but I think it was talking to Marty O'Donnell's podcast. This sort of loss of couch co-op with Halo or games like this, that could be a discussion for another time, but it is, you lose something with it. You really do lose something. And they were lamenting that the newer versions of Halo don't support couch co-op. So like you can't get together with a friend and play, split screen with a buddy right next to you. It's sad. It's sad, and like maybe just a sign of the times, not to get too doomer in that, but definitely a sign of the time, the loss of couch co-op. But at least Nintendo, I think, is still doing a lot of that. But I think now they want you. Nintendo really wants you to buy an individual Switch. If you want to play 4-player, play it with 4 Switches. We'll let you share the game, but you have to buy our $400 system for each person if you want to do that. Last, I'm gonna end on this one. I wasn't planning on getting the camera, but this looks really cool. I thought this was an awesome design for the camera to have it as a piranha plant instead of like that boring one, boring black thing Nintendo came out with. That looks really cool. But that's going to be it for the podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't do a game of the week this week because, you know what? We're talking about video games the entire time. It's not culture war stuff. Hopefully I'll talk about Chrono. I'm planning on talking about Chrono Trigger. Or maybe I'll release it as a separate video. Who knows? We'll see what goes on. But I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Really thank you for the support and the chat. Super busy. That's awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Game of the week is Repo. I've actually really enjoyed Repo. I don't know if you played it, Nuke, but Repo's a lot of fun. Oh, I'm going to redo the redirect to Post Zero. Let me see if Kyle's got it up yet. It should be on Kyle's channel. Yeah, Post Zero grind versus muck mode. That's going to be the thing. A lot of fun. Been playing it with my family, and again, that's another like $10 game you can just have a ton of fun with, playing with people you love. All right. Like I said, see you guys later.